Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time out of a packed schedule here to come and listen to me talk. My name is Derek Gough. I'm the Director of Media and Internet for Level 3 Communications. I'm going to tell you a little bit today about how your website performance can significantly impact the experience of your customers and the things that you can do to improve on that customer experience. So before I do that, I'm just going to tell you just a little bit about Level 3 and who we are, so that I can give you some context as to why I'm in a position to speak in front of you today. Level 3 is a telecommunications service provider. We provide a broad range of telecommunications services to enterprise customers, wholesale customers, mobile customers, in the vein of content delivery, transportation solutions, and IP transit solutions. Now, one of the services that we provide to our customers, for content owners specifically, is content delivery services. Now, I'm not sure how many of you in this marketing audience would have been familiar with content delivery as a service over the last decade or so, but our broad range of services has led us to kind of three stages of evolution of this kind of technology. The first stage, maybe 10 years ago, was rather simple content delivery when websites were simple, when the majority of websites were based around text and small images. At that time, content delivery technology began to emerge as a solution for content owners in order to help them to offload their static images and their text to a service such as ours so that the performance of the website could be improved at that time. The next stage of evolution of these kind of services really began with the emergence of video as the fundamental driver of traffic and performance on websites. And we can all remember over the last 6 or 7 years, as the BBC launched their catch-up TV service, and ITV and Sky and Channel 4 and all the TV stations in Europe did something similar, that video then became the predominant form of content that we all as consumers began to consume on the internet. Only more recently then, in the last 3 or 4 years, have retail customers and enterprise customers began to adopt video quite heavily as a form of communication with their customers and stakeholders. In parallel with that adoption of video by enterprises, we see an emergence of the third form of content delivery services. And that's really what I'm here to talk to you today about, is website acceleration and the impact that that can have on the performance of your website, and then the impact that the performance of your website can have on the buying and purchasing decisions of your customers. So that's kind of the context, as I say, for why I'm going to speak to you today at all. I'm going to talk now about the importance of website performance in the consumer experience. We, as in my company, began to develop solutions and technologies in this field about maybe 2.5 years ago. And at that time, I would come to talk to retail customers and CMOs and even website development agencies. And their predominant focus at the time was largely around the user experience. In a very, let's traverse the journey of the user through the website. Let's make it seamless for them to buy or to subscribe or to whatever it is that the business model of the website was based around. Relatively few people at that time in the marketing space were kind of that aware of the impact of the underlying performance of the website. Irrespective of what the user experience was or how simple you made it to navigate through the site, if the underlying performance of the website, if the website simply wasn't fast, if it wasn't responsive, that would have a more detrimental effect on the user's experience than anything else that you could do. So I'm going to run through some of the challenges of the what we call the next generation websites that we see today with our customers, and identify how these challenges can negatively impact on the user and their decisions around your website. So the first most striking challenge that we see that we would like to identify is that over the last 3, 4, 5 years in particular, websites have gotten increasingly more complex. Now, they've been getting bigger and bigger for 10 years, but over the last 3 or 4 years, that phenomenon has really accelerated. Every year, so this stat here, which you can't really see terrifically well on the screen, this shows you the page weight of a page in 2010 and the page weight of that page in 2011. You're looking at about a 15% increase in the weight of a typical page, which, all other things being equal, means that page takes longer to load. I can tell you that in 2012, it increased by an even greater factor again. So the average page weight now is up at like 990 kilobytes. The reasons for that are many and varied. Video is a big part of it. More and more organizations, as you know, are using video as the means of communication and as the driver to sell more goods or to convert more subscribers. One of the main impacts that we will see from that is that all other things being equal, the load time of a page then will increase in line with the weight of the page. So if you're a typical consumer, back in 2011, your average page would have taken just under 6 seconds for you to load. Today, or in 2012, that page takes just about 6.5 seconds to load. So we're not talking about relatively small increases in percentage terms. We're talking about very big increases in year over year. It's almost counterintuitive because as consumers, we've come to expect our broadband connections to get ever faster, our interactions with the internet to get ever faster. And so as a consequence, our expectations are actually increasing while pages are getting more and more complex at the same time. So the challenge is multiplied. It may not surprise you, but it may surprise some people in the audience to know that website abandonment is at an all-time high right now. Even though our typical home consumer has been getting better and better connections, the experience that they perform, or that the performance that they experience has been deteriorating. And as a consequence, the rate of shopping cart abandonment has been increasing year over year. Now, to a certain extent, as consumers, we all use the shopping cart as a mechanism to kind of try before we buy or to comparative shop. So you'll always have a certain element of of shopping cart abandonment. But if you look at these figures, it's quite dramatic. From 2009, 68%, 71%, 72%, year over year, the rate at which consumers are abandoning their buy decision is increasing, and millions of dollars are being lost. As I've mentioned already, video is one of the big drivers for the increasing complexity of websites. It is probably worth dwelling on that just a little bit because it never fails to amaze me. No matter how much growth we've seen in video consumption year over year, every year I look at the traffic stats that I see and it looks like this cliff. But then by the following year, it's grown so much that year before looks like this. And this is basically what you see. And it's, irrespective of region, all around the world, video consumption from 2011 forecast out to 2016. So if you took this back the last 5 years, you'd see a curve something like that as well, and the growth is not expected to slow down anytime soon. Increasingly, more and more people are watching video on mobile devices. Obviously, mobile presents a particular set of challenges for organizations, enterprises, and retail customers. I personally think that there's really three main categories of device. There's the traditional PC. There's mobile, which is my mobile phone that I use when actually in transit. But then there's the tablet category, which is still treated as mobile today, but in fact we see from our traffic statistics that more and more people are using that as their in-house primary consumption device. So I think it makes sense to have a different shopping experience on the tablet, and we'll come back to that later. But the key stat is that, as of, say, 3 years ago, most retailers used video in a very minimalist way. If there was any video at all, it was maybe a small marketing video or something about the company. It tended not to be videos that are based around all the products that they sell, which we see at an early stage today. But today, 48 of the top 50 online retailers feature videos on their website. We fully anticipate from the data that we see that virtually all of the larger online retailers, or all of the online retailers who see the internet as a primary distribution channel for them, which is basically everybody in the future, will use video in an exponentially greater degree than they do today, tied to product. So, as I mentioned a second ago, the challenge of mobile is ever increasing. Mobile is really quite difficult because it dramatically increases the number of formats and devices that your content, your website, has to be available for. And there's such a proliferation of mobile devices that it's very, very hard to be able to build a successful website that performs extremely well across every device and every channel. So if we look at the adoption of smartphones over the last couple of years, no surprise, I think, to anyone in the audience, from 38% penetration in January 2010 to more than 51% today. Of the percentage of the people who do have a smartphone, the number of smartphone users that see that device as an avenue to access the internet is increasing quite significantly as well. Only a third accessed the internet through their smart device 2 years ago, and now half do. And of the users of a smartphone, perhaps a small amount saw it as or a relatively small amount saw it as an avenue to actually buy goods. Even 2 years ago, 23%, less than 1/4 of people who own a smartphone found it an inconvenient experience to buy via their smartphone. Today, while I would certainly personally feel it's still not a particularly convenient way to purchase, it's getting better, and as a consequence, 38% of people buy from their device. Now, given that the category that is the tablet falls into this definition of device, I think you can expect to see that 38% dramatically increase very sharply over the next couple of years. Now, the challenge with that is, as I say, fundamentally that how as a retailer, how as a marketing organization, how as any business that sees the website as a critical extension of their brand and their success, how does any organization like that possibly manage to keep up with the infrastructure and the technology required to support high performance on all these different devices via all these different channels? The next challenge I'd mention here with regard to the next generation websites is security. Maybe 2 years ago, most of the enterprise organizations that I spoke to, unless they were a bank, they didn't really have an enormous concern about the security of their website. It was a fairly rare occurrence that, for example, an online retailer would be targeted with a distributed denial of service attack. Today, it's not at all an uncommon phenomenon, and most of the let alone the CIOs that I talk to, the CMOs that I talk to, are very aware of the importance of securing their website, because even a very small amount of downtime that results from a DDoS attack means millions of dollars of lost revenue. And the striking thing is DDoS attacks are exponentially increasing in their size, in their scale, in their scope, in their complexity, in their sophistication. And I think particularly over the last 2 years, the type of attack that we see and the range of attack that we see is much more complex, much more sophisticated than would have even been thought of 2 years ago. And the idea that these kind of attacks are targeted at online retailers at businesses is a new phenomenon. So, all of these challenges add up to an end user experience. Now, you'll notice in my technology-driven presentation, I haven't talked about the importance of the user journey or how you craft the website to ensure that the user does what you would like them to do to buy successfully. All of those things are absolutely important, but I would suggest to you that these kind of challenges, the underlying technology challenges, mean that they negate really everything that you do with the user experience or the journey of the user, because if the underlying performance suffers, then this is what results, irrespective of how well the website is designed and crafted. 57% of online consumers will abandon a site after waiting 3 seconds for a page to load. Now, 5 years ago, I think, if I recall correctly, that corresponding figure was 8 seconds. So as the websites are getting more complex, more difficult to craft, more channels, more formats, while that's all getting harder and harder, our expectation as consumers is getting more and more. Of this 57% that abandon the website, 80% of those people do not come back in the aggregate. If you happen to have a very unique product that you're selling, or if you happen to have something else that brings a customer back to you in a very sticky way, then that's a very positive thing. But in the aggregate, 80% of people who abandon a website because of poor performance don't come back. And what's perhaps even worse, and was an interesting stat to me when I first came across it, was that of the people who abandon your website and do not return, of the 57%, almost half of that 57% will go on to tell others about the poor experience that they've had with the website, either directly to their friends and colleagues or via social media where they share their experience. Now, I must say I was quite surprised by that stat. I wouldn't have necessarily thought that people were that motivated by a poor performance that they would share the experience, but this is what the data suggests. So all of this nets out to that basically poor user experience means that millions of dollars are lost in online commerce today. Now, I guess the reason I talk about this at all is, or why my company has a role in this, is that basically we have a, and I wouldn't be doing my job, I suppose, if I didn't tout it even a little bit, we have a technology-based solution to address these technology-based problems that we currently today help our online retail customers to mitigate these challenges. So I'm going to play a little video now because it's a, excuse me. I'm going to play a little video now because it will articulate the type of solution that can help mitigate these challenges far better than I can.
Hello, today we're going to talk about high-performing websites and Level 3 communications. Web pages today are heavier than ever. They've been weighed down with a load of CSS, JavaScript, video and images. These files make your site easier to use and more attractive, but they also slow things down. In 1999, online consumers were willing to wait 8 seconds for a web page to display. Today, they'll wait just 2. If your site isn't up to par, where do you think your customers and prospects are going to go? You need your site to run fast and efficiently, but the marketing department, product teams and sales keep bringing you more and more content to add to your site. So, what can you do about it? Well, actually, a lot. The first step is to remove the bandwidth bottleneck. And I'm not talking about increasing the speed of your ISP connection. It takes speed and connectivity to make your website perform. I mean, what good is a high-speed motorway exit to a dirt road? With Level 3, you'll get your content to your customers with less twists, turns and hops, with plenty of capacity and faster speeds. It's like being on the Internet superhighway. Now that's a great first step. But the truth is, no matter how fast a network is, we still have to deal with the physics of transmission delay or latency. No matter how much bandwidth you have, there is still a built-in delay just from the distance that your content has to travel. But what if you could shorten the distance between you and your customer? Level 3 makes this possible with our Content Delivery Network, or CDN. Let's say, for example, that your web server is in New York and you have customers hitting your site in San Francisco, San Antonio, Chicago and London. Your content has a long journey. With the Level 3 CDN, copies of your content can be placed around the world. So your customer could simply grab the requested content from a server close to them. Now you're feeling pretty good, aren't you? Your website is on the internet speed lane and your content is right next door to your customer. But let's not celebrate yet. There's still more you can do. Remember, we still have those large web pages to deal with. Let's put this into perspective. In 1995, the average web page had just a few objects and was approximately 14 kilobits in size. Many of today's web pages have over 75 objects and are almost 500 kilobytes. To combat these huge pages, we offer a service called Level 3 Site Transformer. Site Transformer uses a number of clever techniques to reduce the size of your web pages, such as optimizing each request based on browser type, page structure, and web development platform. Site Transformer is very smart. It constantly tracks and analyzes behavior patterns on your site and it predicts where your customers are going to click next and preloads the page. This trick makes pages load almost instantly. The beauty of Site Transformer is that all of this can be done easily with no code changes, plugins or installation. Now, we also know that it takes more than just speed to host a successful website. You need a place to put your web server, and you also need to make sure the connection to your users is protected. So, putting it all together, a fast network, getting your content close to your customers, shrinking your web page size, and anticipating user behavior can increase your site speed by 50 to 70%. Plus, you can even add web server infrastructure and security to get the whole package. This makes your marketing team happy, IT the hero, and most importantly, your website sticky. All of this can be done with just a simple phone call to Level 3, where we hide the magic behind the scenes, so all your customers notice is speed. For more information on how Level 3 can get your customers to buy more, do more, and click more, go to www.level3.com/performance.
So, I hope you found that interesting. Sorry about the strap line about hiding the magic behind the scenes. I didn't write it. But basically, the premise behind our solution set is that what we're fundamentally facing here is a technology problem, not a problem of design or of better marketing. It's a technology problem, and we propose a technology solution to a technology problem to allow organizations to focus on what they do best, which is to think about the user journey. If I just quickly, so we have time to take a couple of questions if anyone wants to, I'll just quickly mention what the key benefits are there. So the performance piece we've dwelt on at length. Our customers typically would enter into a relationship with Level 3 anticipating that they will see a 40 to 70% improvement in the page load time of their website. But there are other benefits as well. Availability is an important one. Several of the customers that we work with have justified the return on investment of our technology simply on the greater availability of their website. The average availability of an e-commerce website in the UK is about 98%. With the Level 3 Site Transformer solution, the availability of the website goes to 99.9% guaranteed under SLA. That translates directly into hours of uptime, which translates into increased revenue. So several of our customers have proven the benefit of this solution simply on just having the website more available for longer. Scalability, obviously, inherently with the technology-based solution, you are protected against whatever devices or whatever formats come along in the future. It eliminates the need to rewrite your website for different platforms because it anticipates the browser and the platform of the user as they come to the website and automatically delivers the correct version of the website to them on the fly. Security, it inherently is a more secure solution, enables you to protect against, or at least to mitigate against DDoS attacks and other forms of threat. Offload refers to the fact that the technology challenges. I remember one of our customers said to me, and one of our American customers said, the problem with my website is that it's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. Every time we get to the end, we have to go back and do it again. And with the technology-based solution, you're able to mitigate the cost and infrastructure and people that you would need to keep your website current. And finally, simplification. Most of our customers, as I say, are enterprise and retail customers. Their focus is on generating revenue from their website channel, and a technology-based solution to these challenges greatly simplifies their life.